Now, if you tried to raise the volume because you thought you couldn't hear me, you've been bamboozled, so go ahead and play Heads Up 7 Up with the like button. For today's topic of class, we are going to talk about how to travel getting paid minimum wage and or working part-time. My very first trip besides going to Mexico was to Europe. I actually went to Spain and Italy for the time span of 10 days. And I did that right after high school, the year after I graduated high school, so I was 18 at the time. And I did that getting paid 11 hours. I, I was getting paid $11 per hour, working 4 hours a day. I did it with EF Tours, given that it was with the school. My girlfriend was a year younger than me, so she was a senior. That was their senior trip, and I ended up going with them. I'll go ahead and put all the information in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so hopefully I was able to split screen, and now we're talking, and hopefully I'm showing the information with Eve Tours, and I'll go ahead and show how much it costs, how much I would pay monthly, and how I was able to achieve this. So as you can see here, it shows that I went to Spain and Italy in 2016, which is the year after I graduated. I was there for 10 days. So now as you can see here, the bundle for the trip was a total of $3,580. That included flight there and back. It included the cruise ship from Barcelona to Rome. It included breakfast and dinner. It included the bus to take us from the hotel to the location that we were supposed to be in. It included the hotel. I don't know if I mentioned that. It pretty much included everything except 2 things, and that was the lunch and any souvenirs that you wanted to buy when you were there. And the plan that I chose, the only one that I could afford at the time, was to do monthly increments for the time span of 6 months. The total cost for the trip was $3,580. You divide that by 6 because that's the amount of time I had in order to pay off the balance. That gave me approximately a monthly payment of $600. So now I have 4 times 7 because 4 is the amount of hours I will work a day, times 7 is the amount of days I work the week. That gave me 28 hours. You times that by 11 because that's the amount that I would get paid hourly. That gave me approximately $300 a week. You times that by 4 because there's 4 weeks in the month, and that gave me a total of $1,200 that I was able to spend in that given month. Now in the next slide, I'm going to break down how I was able to afford the trip given all my expenses during a given month period. Okay. So here we have a breakdown of how I would manage my money every month. I have $1,200 to work with a month. $600 was the payment I would have to give EF Tours to be able to go to the trip. So that leaves us with 600. This 250 right here, I went ahead and split it up over here. It's 120 in gas roughly a month. I remember the car used to fill up with $30 roughly a week. I would put $70 is insurance and $50 is the phone payment. Now that adds up. I hope that's 250. So we're gonna put 250 here. That gives us 350. Make sure my math is right because I don't want to be 400. Yeah, 350. So this 200 right here was money I was putting aside to be able to have for spending money once I went over there. So I put $200 aside. So if you do 200 times 6 every 6 months, that gave me $1,200 to spend while I went over there. That left me with $150 to do with whatever that was like my spending money. Eve Tours is a really good company when it comes to people that are going to go visit a country that they've never been before. Given that they are going to have a tour guide, they're going to explain everything to them. They pretty much plan the trip for you. All you have to pretty much do is pay and show up, and that's it. They do give you, I believe, from what I remember, like 3 or 4 hours of free time. The tour guide tells you, like, be around this area, do whatever it is that you want to do, and just come back.
Obviously, given that my channel is so small, I'm not getting paid to say this. Now, before you click off this video, let me just say that what if by you planning the trip yourself, it may be cheaper than doing it with a company like EF Tours? What would you say to that? So now let's say you do want to plan a trip yourself, right? You don't want to do it with a company or a program that does it for you. Let's say you personally want to do it. Let's say we're going to Italy. I will go on YouTube, I go on Google, and I just search up things like what to do in Rome. And I look at videos of people that have been there, I jot down the things I want to do. I go on Google, do the same thing, and once I find the things that I want to do, if it requires for me to purchase a ticket, I will buy it ahead of time. Let's actually plan the trip. Let's say we go to Italy and we do Rome and Venice in February of 2021. Let's pretend COVID isn't a thing, right? And we're able to travel wherever we want. Let's break down how much it would actually cost for us right now to plan the trip ourselves, what the total cost would be.
So like I mentioned, we're gonna plan a trip to Italy to see how much it would actually cost to go there. The first step would actually be to find your airplane tickets, right? So for this, I like using two websites. The first one is Skyscanner and the second one is CheapOair. I have everything pre-filled already for the sake of time. We would be traveling Friday, February 12th, 2021, come back Sunday, February 21st, and it's the same dates on both pages. Me personally, I would say a trip duration of 21 to 22 hours. Going to Europe is a decent amount depending where you're going, obviously. And I already put it for the cheapest airline first, given that this is, for me, the smartest way to shop. And I found this one as $662 per person. If it was, I put tickets for two. If you were going with a couple or a friend or someone, For two people it would be 1,323, but we're going to focus with just the one person because regardless of the price, you would be splitting it evenly. You can obviously find cheaper tickets than this, but the trip duration would be more. For example, I saw some that were like $530, but the trip duration was like 30 hours. And me personally, I'd rather spend the extra $100 to $150 to get there sooner, like the ones here. So like I mentioned, I like using two websites. So this one is for $662 at Skyscanner. We're gonna go ahead and check on CheapOair. Go ahead and zoom out. And the cheapest one you can actually find is $687 with these given dates. Yes, this one is cheaper, but as you can see, it's obviously this bracket here is in green, meaning it is cheaper, but we have to pay attention to the small details. This is saying that instead of leaving Friday the 12th, we would leave on Sunday, and instead of coming back on Sunday, you would be coming back on Monday. So depending if your schedule is flexible for that, then yes, go ahead and do this one. But for the sake of keeping the dates the same, this is the cheapest one I could find for $687. So obviously the one over here is cheaper. So let's say we pick these, right? $662 per person. Now the next thing to do is find where we're gonna be living at for the time being when we go over there. Okay, so when it comes to actually deciding where you wanna stay, I feel like it depends on the person. I personally prefer Airbnbs because I do find them cheaper. Or you can also do hostels. I'm gonna focus on Airbnbs right now, and then I'll go ahead and add the hostels as well. When it comes to Airbnbs, I personally like to get the whole place to myself. I don't enjoy private rooms because I prefer the privacy. So, and it also depends on location. So here I put it in for February 13, which is on Saturday, because given the duration of the flight, and I believe it's 8 or 9 hours that they are ahead, you will be getting there on Saturday. So I found this one for 44 a night, and it's nice. I found this one for 45 and then this one for 40. So depending on which one you want, let's say you go for this one, right? It's 40 per night for 3 nights. You'll be paying a total of 120. So we're gonna go ahead and add that to the total. Depending on how you want to split it, we're gonna do half, right? So it'd be 60 per person at this point. Now let's say you're in Rome and you want something to do. You're obviously gonna go see the Colosseum, right? It's free to see from the outside, but if you want to go inside, I recommend buying the tickets ahead of time. That way you skip the lines and it's just so much better. For example, here you have two options. You skip the line on both. The only option is that the one that's a little bit more expensive, you get a little audio. You have like this little cassette thing with your earphones on. So I would personally go for this one. I mean, it's only what, like, this is euros, so I want to say it's like $6, $7 more, but you're at least getting the information. And another one would be to see the Vatican, right? You skip the line as always. It's better to buy ahead of time. This is about 20 per person as well. So now you've enjoyed Rome for about 3 days, and now we're gonna go to Venice to see obviously something else. The best way to travel for me would be in train, and I was gonna put the dates that we were supposed to go, which is in February, but the train schedule wasn't out yet. So I still did a Tuesday departure, and we were returning back that following Saturday. Keep in mind that these prices are per person, but it is round trip. So depending on what time you would like to go, they're all the same price. I would personally go at 11. That way you wake up, you're well rested, you get to eat breakfast, and then you make your way to the train station. That would be $101 per person. It's about a 4-hour train ride, so that's you made it to Venice. You're fresh off the train, your taxi is waiting for you to take you to your Airbnb. Now when it comes to Airbnbs, for me myself, as long as it has a kitchen and Wi-Fi, I'm all for it. And here I found 3 are all around the same price, 71, 74, 70. Let's say you go for the cheapest one. This would be the total here, 318. Give me about 10 seconds. That would be 159, let's say 160 per person, right? For the 4 nights that you're there. So here I have all the information regarding the trip if we actually would have gone to Italy. And the first bracket here, it shows if you were to pay everything by yourself, half and half, or if you wanted to pay everything for the 2 people. We have the airplane tickets, we have the Airbnb, we have the Colosseum tickets, we have the Vatican tickets, the train tickets, and the Venice Airbnb. This is everything calculated. These next 4 categories here are pretty much estimates. Depending on what you decide to do, there's a lot of stuff to do. If you did require to pay for something else, like let's say the gondolas, I don't know how much those would cost. You can look this up. Let's say all the activities you do extra per person, it's an estimate of 250, right? If you decide to use taxi or Uber to drive you instead of you walking or doing something else, I would say around 125 per person, maybe a total of 250 for both of you guys. It all depends. I really don't know there. Food as well, just an estimate because it depends where you eat, how much you eat. If you are gonna eat out a lot, if you decide to cook in, these are just estimates. And then the souvenirs, I put it in yellow because I feel that regardless of if you decide to pay everything yourself, the other person should still pay for all the souvenirs that they want to take back home if you want to do that. So for 2 people, it's $4,000, which is pretty much what a trip for yourself with EF Tours would have cost. A total just by yourself is around 2,300, and this is about the amount of money that I spend when I go on trips. I spend anywhere from, I want to say 1,800 to like 2,500, 2,600 estimate from what I've been able to track myself. If I was able to afford a trip worth $3,900 estimate, getting paid $11 an hour, working minimum wage, for the people that really want to travel whenever COVID ends, obviously, it is doable.
Thank you again for taking the time to watch my videos. Just please remember to play Heads Up 7 Up with the like button. And if you can, if it doesn't hurt you, send it to someone else, show the video to someone else, send a comment, put it on Instagram, put it on Snapchat, I don't know, give me exposure, word of mouth, you know what I'm saying? But today's bar of the day to wrap up the video is by Chris Webby, given that we are talking about traveling. I'm trying to do this one shot, let's see if I remember. Fuck. Oh, yeah, I'm traveling to parts unknown, send a postcard home, living like a Travelocity gnome. Now, these aren't the chips I would require for this, but at least I got a bag of chips. Now I can dip.